I'm gonna start this video off by saying this is my personal tier list. Nothing I'm saying or explaining should be taken directly to the heart. You know what I'm saying? Should be taken with a grain of salt, not at face value. This is my opinion. It's been a while since I watched the show, so my understanding might be a little flawed. I'm currently rewatching it. I've watched it like 5 times. I know what I'm talking about, but I forget some characters' names here and there, and that's really all I wanted to say. I've never done a tier list like this. I want to start doing more voiceover videos about either anime or like shows like this. But yeah, today I'm gonna be ranking the main characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to it. First, we've got Appa. Crucial character slash. I wouldn't say he's a character, but he is an animal and he's very crucial to the team, very crucial to the story. If it wasn't for him, Team Avatar would not have gotten nearly I'm sure he would have gotten done when he needed to get done, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not, maybe up for debate. But honestly, if it wasn't for Appa, the entirety of Team Avatar would not have worked out, you know. He carried them long distances, kept them out of harm's way. You know, he's Aang's spirit guide animal. It, more than a pet, they're like spiritually connected. You know, I'd have to put him in perfect, you know, there's not really much and he's got a sense of humor, you know. I really couldn't say much more about Appa, he's amazing, you know, obviously amazing. Momo, um, incredible. I wouldn't say on par with Appa for I mean, he kinda was like a side type deal, you know, who if he wasn't in the story, I'd say, they still would have gotten a majority, if not everything done the exact same way. Not saying he's a bad, pet lemur, flying lemur, but I would also argue that he wasn't quote unquote necessary to the story, unlike Appa. Next, we'll talk about Suki. You know, she's good. I wouldn't say she's bad. She's kind of got an attitude at the beginning, and then her and Sokka have their little fling. You know what I'm saying? She's cool. She's a Kyoshi warrior. Excuse me. Not too good, not too bad. Subpar, if you will. Now, character that I will say that I absolutely hate is none other than fucking Azula. I despise this bitch. I don't like her. Yes, she's a powerful firebender, and it's shown how her fire's blue. She can, redirect lightning. You know, I'm not saying she's a weakling or anything. She is pretty strong. I won't lie, but she's a manipulator. She always has been. She treats her family like so poorly. She acts like she's one of, you know, she just acts like she's more than she really is. She wasn't even heir to throne. That was Zuko was. You know, it's all just she's just a punk. I don't like her. Now, a character I'd have to say is arguably one of the best characters in the whole entire show, without a doubt, is Uncle Iroh, you know? He's the Grand Lotus, leader of the White Lotus. Um, he was there for Zuko through everything, whether it deemed him a traitor to his Fire Nation and his family or not. He was always there for Prince Zuko up until, everything. He was always there for him, and then in Korra, he meditated into the spirit realm and let his body die, and he's alive in the spirit world still. So that's amazing. He's so wholesome. It's so sad how his son, passed away. In the episode where we hear him sing "Leaves from the Vine" is just by far one of the saddest scenes throughout the whole show, and he's just amazing. He helps defeat Ozai, which is his younger brother. He was actually heir to throne before Ozai, which I'm sure everyone who watched the show knows. But, Ursa comprised or composed the poison, and then she got banished, so she didn't use it on Ozai. And, you know, um, Azulon in his will made it so, um, yeah, he didn't become heir of throne. Instead, Ozai did, and that is just bogus. I'm sure he would have been a great Fire Lord. Things would have been a lot better if he was Fire Lord, but everything played out perfectly. Fire Lord, Zuko, you know, perfect. Bang. Now, another character who I love, right? And I'm just gonna say it's Zuko, right? I'd say he's perfect, if not incredible. Incredible, if not perfect, I'd say. I wouldn't say he's perfect because his morals and his ideals were always, you know, not right, if you will. And but yeah, Zuko, his morals weren't always perfect. I know he went through his redemption arc, and then he tried to help Avatar, Aang, and his group, overthrow his father. You know, but incredible. If he's not perfect, he's incredible. He's no lower than that. Him and Aang, learned the true meaning of firebending from the dragons personally, and everything after that is amazing. It's terrible how he got his scar. In Agni Kai against your father for speaking out of turn during a war meeting. Kind of fucked, but he was permanently um embarrassed, and he was taught a lesson and was banished from his own Fire Nation by his own father. And the only way he could redeem himself was by bringing home the Avatar. And we briefly get a moment to where he's back at home and he feels like everything's kind of right, but it's still different because the Avatar's quote unquote dead, but really he's just in a coma of sorts, because he got murked almost. But I'd say he is an incredible character. I don't want to ramble on too much. I'm saying a lot of nothing, but everyone knows he's a really good character. In the beginning, kind of bogus, kind of, trying to murk Aang, but he does end up switching sides, takes over his father, and becomes one of the best characters. His character development and his parallels with Aang are just amazing. Now we'll go. Hmm. I don't know her name. I'm gonna put her in the fine because she's kind of fucking annoying. I don't remember her name. She does like the Ty Lee. What? Oh, her name is Ty Lee. I'm bugging. Yeah, that was stupid. But yeah, she does chi blocking and makes people paralyzed. She cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just don't find her character to be amazing or like she could be in good, but solely on the fact that I personally find her just annoying. I'm putting her in the fine. Um, Sokka. We'll speak on Sokka, right? Sokka. At first, he's kind of like the witty, you know, knuckle-headed brother. I mean, he don't even bend, right? He don't have any. You know what I'm saying? Like any sort of power, like bending anything. So at first he's people could I could see if someone would argue he's annoying, but I don't agree. He's got a sense of humor. He's always trying to be the leader, wants to be just like his father, you know. He ends up actually, like I spoke on earlier, going with Zuko to go find his father in prison and the at the Boiling Rock, I believe it's called. And his whole arc where he goes and he makes the meteorite sword and he trains with the guy and you know, I'd say he really steps up and eventually he really becomes, you know, like the Avatar team Avatar group leader in a way, you know. He's a great character. He's great. He's a great character. I'd say his character development would maybe push him up here towards incredible, but you know, nah, he's incredible. He's a good main character. You know, he's always got a sense of humor. His character development, like I keep saying, is amazing. He becomes one of the most like I don't know the term I'm looking for, like just all around good guy, you know. He wants to be team leader even though he doesn't have any bending. He's like low key jealous sometimes, but he's always looking on the bright side. Even when he almost died to the moose thing, when Aang's learning um earthbending, you know, in a dire situation like that, he's always got a sense of humor. And since we're speaking on, we'll put him in great. We'll put him in great. No shame, no shame, no shame. But now that we're speaking on Sokka, I say we have to speak on Katara. You know, I'd say, incredible. You know, Aang's baby mama. You know, they have like 3 kids. She can heal. She she completely negates Hana's bloodbending when they're both under the full moon. So it's like neither one of them are more overpowered than the other. They're both under the full moon. But immediately after she gets bloodbended, not immediately, but relatively immediately after, she completely negates Hana's bloodbending and you know uses her own. She like learns it immediately. She can heal with her you know her waterbending. At first, she was jealous of Aang because, you know, with him already having the mentality that he has with from being like a monk and airbender, he understands like the basics of the waterbending. Like that it's more of like a reshaping or redirecting, not reshaping, like redirecting the waves and the current and the push and pull of the, you know, water to where he's understanding his waterbending and like basically surpasses Katara almost immediately, and she gets jealous. But you know, he's the Avatar. What can you say? Like, I don't, you know, whole voice crack taught Avatar, taught Aang, sorry, how to earth or waterbend at first. All in all, great character. She's always trying to do what's right, and she almost kills the man who killed her mother, but goes against it, like I said in other episode or video. Sorry. Yeah, incredible. Um, I think this girl's name is Mai. Imma put her at Get Out, and we'll put her at Fine, because I think her name's Mai. I'm not entirely sure. That's Zuko's little shit, you know what I'm saying? She's always got this monotone voice. She doesn't really care about anything. I guess Zuko finds that attractive. Um, she's alright. The monotone in her voice would kinda, you know, I'd say she's cool. She's cool. Not really much to say about her. Um, we'll go we'll go hmm, had to take a slight intermission. I'm gonna act like I didn't look up this guy's name. It's General Zhao. Honestly, I mean Zuko beat him in the Agni Kai, and Like, let him live. Sorry, I don't really know much. I'm drawing blank when it comes to this guy. He was Zhang Zhang's student. When Zhang Zhang made the wall of fire so easily, he kind of breaks through it, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, it can't be that such of a feat if General Zhao or whatever, he was literally a student. I don't see why there'd be any reason he couldn't go through the wall. If you know what I'm saying, enough rambling. I'd say he's fine. He's a piece of shit, just like the rest of the Fire Nation, but he's fine. You know, I don't want to throw him in Get Out because we kind of need him in the story. I don't really hate him like I do her. Oh, I don't like her. You know, yeah. We'll do Aang. Aang's incredible. One of the main reasons I wouldn't put him in perfect is because I mean, his cowardness. He ran away. He didn't. I wouldn't really say it's coward, but you could say it's coward. Maybe I'm just misreading, not misreading, but not understanding the word coward. But I'd personally say he would be perfect if he didn't freeze himself in the Avatar state for 100 years and let everything, the genocide and all that with the temples and all the airbenders and the monks. Like, I wouldn't say it wouldn't have happened if he was there, but he definitely could have probably tried and prevented something from happening. But then fairly, we wouldn't have gotten the entire story we have now, where he redeems himself as the Avatar. Learns all the elements, gets his team together, takes down Ozai, takes his bending away, doesn't kill anybody. You know, he's always trying to you know be an airbender like a monk, like on the defense, more on offense. If it wasn't for that, he'd be perfect. But yeah, incredible. Toph, I ain't gonna lie, I'm glazing slightly because she's such a goated character throughout the whole show. She's always straightforward with Aang. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She has a sense of humor, Twinkle Toes, calling him Twinkle Toes, calling the boulder the pebble. She, not only is she funny, she's got one of the like she learned from the badger moles, which is the origination of earthbending. Excuse me. And with her seismic sense, it's just the way she teaches Aang, and I just love it all. She's literally the founder of metal bending. She's got two daughters, and yeah, man, she's the goat. She's a goat. She probably could have taken down the entire like when they were infiltrating the Earth Kingdom, right? When they just got Appa back, she honestly could have did that shit without Aang's help. Just obviously with a little more time and probably broke a little more of a sweat. But she is she's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep glazing her, but she's amazing. We'll go eeny meeny money Ozai, right? Ozai's I like he's a Fire Lord. He's strong. He's whatever you want to say he is, but he's a fucking asshole at the end of the day. Um, he basically, if not entirely, like killed his father to overthrow not only his father but his older brother, who was supposed to be the Fire Lord. Which, yeah, man, I'm glad Aang didn't kill him because that would have kind of been like, I don't know, make him sit in a prison like without no bending, like let him rot. Don't let him just take the easy way out and take his life. Like, I'm glad we overthrew him, not we, but I'm glad he was overthrown, his bending was taken away, and Zuko became Fire Lord like immediately after that. That was amazing. I'm rambling. I'm not really good at these voiceover videos, but I'd say nah, get him out. Get him out. We don't like him. He's always running. He doesn't want to take things head on. He's banished his son because he spoke out of turn instead of just, not only banished him, permanently scarred him and challenged him to an Agni Kai, like which is literally a battle to the death to see who like yeah, man. I'm rambling, but loser guy. He doesn't deserve bending. He's a piece of shit. Killed his dad, banished his wife, even though he was the one that was like, yeah, like make that poison so we can get rid of him, and then banished her so he didn't use it on her or him. Shit's whack. And last but not least on this list, we got Boomy. Avatar's or Aang's childhood friend. Um, he's the king, and like King of Omashu. You know, I really I really can't hate him. I don't like how he kind of played in Aang's face. Obviously, it was for good reasons. He tested him, and eventually Aang realized what the hell's up. But he's a great Earthbender. He was throwing entire buildings while defending his empire, I believe. And yeah, he's a great character. He could be better. He's just very old. I'm sure he was a lot better in his prime. Yeah, this is my list for the main characters on Avatar. I'm sure there could have been more. I'm sure I could have had a better tier list. Excuse me. Better tier list and reasoning as to why I feel like these people deserve these spots. This is just my opinion. I'm not expecting everyone to have the same opinion. I mean, other than these two. These two deserve perfect regardless. But other than that, that's my list. We got perfect, Appa, Toph, and General Iroh. For incredible, we've got Momo, Zuko, Katara, and Aang. Under that, we've got Great, which is Sokka and Boomy. Under that, we've got Suki. She's like the middle ground, good fighter, kind of lame, but under that, we've got fine. We've got Mai, Mei, I forget, and General Zhao. Under them, we've got the annoying. Excuse me, I keep yawning. Sorry. Annoying motherfuckers, Ty Lee and Ozai. And then we got the bottom of the barrel, this piece of shit manipulating, conniving, entitled princess of a. Ugh, I just like her. But that's all for this video. Again, as I said on the last one, let me know how you feel. Let me know what you would have changed, if you agree, what you disagree with. Open ears. I want to know what you guys have to say. I do think my tier list could have been better if I wasn't, rushing it one take. Um, yeah, I wouldn't. I enjoyed recording it. I like talking about these characters. That's one of my favorite shows. So yeah, a like wouldn't hurt. A sub would be much appreciated, and that's all I got for this video. Deuces.